Which of the following is a characteristic of the fault-tolerant nature of routing on the internet? So, fault-tolerant nature of routing on the internet really just describes the ability for packets to be sent on the internet through routers, and that even if certain components like individual routers or other components, intermediaries fail, your packets will still reach their destination because there are many different paths that they can go through. So the fault-tolerant nature really just means that even if there are faults, the system can still work as intended. So A says the ability to use a hierarchical naming system to avoid naming conflicts. So this is just about naming systems. This doesn't describe the routing of packets and other information through the internet. And this doesn't describe the fault tolerant nature, meaning it doesn't describe a fault and the ability to for the system to still work despite that fault. So A is not correct. B says the ability to provide data transmission even when some connections have failed. This is true. The fault tolerant nature means that the data can still be transmitted even when some connections or components have failed. That's literally what we described earlier with the fault tolerant nature of routing. And even if some routers fail, your data, your packets will still be transmitted to their destination. So B is likely correct, but let's check the rest. C says the ability to resolve errors in domain name system lookups. So this describes the ability to fix or determine errors and fix them in DNS lookups. This doesn't really talk about routing. So routing and specifically the transmission of data and packets on the internet. So yes, this is sort of a fault tolerance, but it doesn't describe routing on the internet. This is talking about DNS lookups, which is determining the domain names and submitting requests for to look up domain names. So C is not correct. D says the ability to use multiple protocols such as hypertext transfer protocol, internet protocol, and simple mail transfer protocol to transfer data. So this is just different types of protocols to transfer data across the internet. This doesn't really describe a fault tolerant system. Is not describing a fault and how the routing on the internet can still function properly despite that fault. So D is not the correct answer. This is just talking about different transfer protocols. So that means B is the correct answer.